you've fought some people that are prominent in the heavyweight ranks, Tate being one of them, and now you're fighting Leon Spinks, a former champion, and I know that he presents different problems perhaps than you've seen in the past. How do you analyze it?
I don't see no problems. My road was never paved for me. I was fighting. I had to go to everybody's backyard and fight him. I was the underdog. I was always 20 pounds outweighed, and Leon Spinks' road isn't paved for him. So tomorrow night it isn't paved. If he gets past me, well, then I respect him, and he deserved to be the champion.
Eddie Lopez was raised in the Ramona Gardens housing projects of Boyle Heights, where he was a member of the street gang called Big Hazard. He would serve 6 months at the Nellis School for Boys in Whittier, California, after being caught joyriding and then fighting with the arresting officers. He would meet former lightweight contender Cisco Andrade at the facility, but it would not be until he was sent to the Job Corps in Clearfield, Utah, that he began boxing under the tutelage of Doc Broadus, a man credited with launching the career of George Foreman. Lopez dropped out of school in the 11th grade and trouble followed. Fighting with opposing gangs, he was shot at in front of his home. "I told my mother they were just blanks," Lopez said. "Then I saw the bullet holes above the door." Lopez's right ear was sliced off with a hatchet during a fight, and the doctors had to sew it back on, giving it a seashell-like appearance. When Lopez was 16, he and 2 friends found a lost Great Dane. They received a $20 reward after returning the dog to its owner. "We bought some wine with the $20, Lopez said. There were about 30 guys on the corner, and we went to the north side of the projects. A couple of guys brought out guitars and we started singing. An outside gang showed up and we got into a fight. They started beating us with chains and clubs, and they tried to cut us. I hit somebody over the head with a bottle. We left and they said somebody got killed. I was convicted of assault. The $20 ended up costing me 3 years. After his release from the Chino Youth Training School at age 19, Lopez was in a halfway house for 3 months, then worked as a youth counselor's aide for 8 months. When funds were cut, so was his job. He then found work in auto sales. I worked as a used car salesman for a while, Lopez said. One day I saw the boss's son back his car into my brother's car. I stuck up for my brother, and the boss fired me. With no other employment alternatives, Lopez turned to professional boxing, making his debut on April of 1976. He would also find work as a sparring partner for such notables as Mike Weaver, Ken Norton, and Jerry Quarry. A year into his boxing career, Lopez continued to brawl in the streets. He would be stabbed in his left elbow with a screwdriver. The tool lodged so far up his elbow that the handle broke off. Surgeons had to cut open Lopez's arm to get it out and try to repair the nerves. Doctors didn't think he would be able to fight again, let alone reach up and scratch his ear. Lopez would return to the ring, but often complain of pain and stiffness in his elbow. Lopez would have managerial issues early on, but eventually settled on a team of manager Jerry McCauley with Ralph Gambina and Al Deneva on board as trainers. Lopez would claim to be free of the street life, outgrowing the chip on his shoulder. But tattoos of his gang connections decorated his body, and he wanted to represent the Hazard, the name of a barrio section of East Los Angeles. As LA Times writer Jim Murray put it, quote, "It came by its reputation honestly. It didn't trap stray golf balls. It trapped stray lives." But boxing was a ray of hope for Lopez. He would win his first 10 fights before losing a razor-thin decision to future heavyweight champion John Tate.
8 knockouts in his 10 heavyweight wins. Tate is a little bit more conservative. I always thought he was, even when he was going to the Olympics. Well, he may not have a chance to get conservative here. Tate is the big man on your left, and the big one on your right is Animal Lopez, 210 pounds. And he did. He got hit a wicked right hand by Teofilo Stevenson. So, I mean, they could have gotten anybody. And has, most of them.
The animal, Lopez, is the one that seems to be the aggressor. In fact, he is. Tate's pretty cool, though. Now he's beginning to strike. Right now, Lopez, who doesn't have a style, he just hits from anywhere, including a couple of low ones like that.
And they say the name of the game is win, no matter how.
Tate doesn't seem to be bothered by it yet. I've never seen so much action in my life.
Tate doesn't know what to do with this guy, you know?
Good jab by Tate, chasing him across, but really doesn't make much contact. About 30 seconds left. Round one. Good right hand by Tate.
Didn't seem to bother Lopez.
Big John Tate on the right.
It was a good left hand that landed by Lopez.
He said he goes southpaw, he hits you from anywhere, but he's a busy fighter, Lopez.
Whether he can keep this up, though, is a question we'll have to find out.
I have a feeling Lopez has cleaned out every saloon in Los Angeles at one time or another.
So you do get that idea, right? A little short right uppercut by Tate in there was an effective weapon.
Lopez pushed and was warned by Steele, the referee, for pushing John Tate into the corner.
Authenticity of his punching power now.
Neither fighter is cut. Neither has been down. And there's been a lot of action.
Good shots being thrown by Lopez there.
Lopez is sort of a cutie. He uses the heels, a little bit of lace once in a while.
He's an animal. That's what they call him, the animal. Surprised he hasn't kicked him yet. Maybe John Tate will become a good fighter sometime.
He's working at it. Big young man from Knoxville, Tennessee. He's only 22 years of age.
Right swing by Lopez is the best punch he landed in the whole fight. Another right swing.
Lopez, a 33-year-old, and it looks like he's showing it a little bit right now, and Tate's all over it. Oh, there's an overhand right by Lopez.
Quite a difference in their age, being his Tate's only 20.
Closing seconds of round 6, and the animal is still there, and Tate's probably going to win this fight, and they're going to give their guy a big hand.
56, Delgado, 58, 57, and the winner, Big John Tate.
That won't be a popular decision here at the Olympic Auditorium, but honestly, from ringside, that's the way it looked for the last couple of rounds going to Big John Tate.
Well, I think that Lopez threw his opportunity away by running out of gas.
A little over a year later, he would take on the undefeated slugger Jerry Cooney on 10 days' notice, but lose another decision. Promoters noticed his talent and potential. He had a tough guy attitude with a steel chin to match. But everyone questioned whether or not he took the sport seriously. "I've got to admit," Lopez said, "I don't always train real hard. The thing is, I'm just sociable as all hell. I like to talk. I like to be around people. Sometimes that can be a distraction." The translation was that Lopez could not get the wrong people out of his life. According to Carol Steinler, the owner of the Main Street boxing gym, Lopez was in and out of jail and took drugs. He was in that element and couldn't get out of it, she said. Still, he made movie appearances in films such as The Champ, Main Event, and may be best known for his line in Rocky II when Sylvester Stallone bumps into someone and says, "Oops." Lopez then said, "Can't you think of anything tougher to say than oops?" On March 8, 1980, Lopez would get his biggest opportunity to date. He would face former heavyweight champion Leon Spinks in a nationally televised encounter. Going into the bout on only 8 days' notice, Lopez stepped up to the challenge.
Lopez on the left, Leon Spinks on the right. Spinks has really been forced to counterpunch because Lopez just keeps coming at him, initiating all of the...
There's that right hand over the jab again, Tim. Oh, he got butted. He got butted. They bunked heads. Yes, they did.
That was accidental, clearly, but that is why Lopez pulled back.
Lopez doesn't know it was accidental. He's trying to even the score.
Yeah, he really stuck his head in there when he got back to that corner.
Whoa! That was a vicious
That
one.
was deliberate. No question about that. And he's being warned by the referee, Mills Lane. And Leon is upset about that.
I told you, Lopez is a personality. Certainly isn't a mechanical man. You can expect anything from Eddie Lopez.
Good left hook from Lopez landed. Spinks comes right back with a combination that scores. Final seconds, 5th round. Well, the deliberate butt cost Lopez a point. The fans gave that round to Leon Spinks rather heavily, as you can see on the computer score. And referee Mills Lane took a point away from Eddie Lopez for his deliberate butt.
They sure did.
That overhand right from Lopez. Spinks got his glove up to stop it.
Yeah, it's just an arm punch, Tim. It makes a lot of noise, but it doesn't really hurt you. There's another one.
That one landed, but it was the end of a long slap.
Oh,
really.
that was a better one.
Good punch by Lopez that time.
And he tried it again.
Less than a minute to go here in round 7. Not much zing on those punches by Lopez.
No, but Tim, he seems to be much the fresher of the two. He's mentally alert. He seems to know what he's doing in there now.
Straight right from Lopez. Grazed Spinks. Got some of it in. Good left from Spinks. Less than 30 seconds to go here in the 7th round. Michael, what are your impressions of this fight so far? It's a tough one, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
You got Leon ahead?
Yes, I have Leon lead. I think Leon's hitting him with the most devastating punches, and I think he's outpointing Animal.
Good left uppercut from Leon there. Did you talk to him about this opponent before the fight? What did he think about Lopez?
No, well, we saw Lopez fight John Tate up there in L.A., and it was a good match. I really think Animal won it myself. But Leon know Animal's a tough opponent. And he knew that before he stepped in there with him. So all I told him is, keep his hands high, keep his stick in his face, and he can just expect to go 10 rounds because Animal's a tough guy.
All right, Michael, thanks for coming by. Your brother just got off some of his better combinations in this round than he's had in the fight. What do you think, Gil?
Michael, would you be telling Leon to do anything different than he's doing now? How would you have him fight?
I would have him in the center of the ring. I would tell him to use a stick more. Stay in the center of the ring, use a stick more.
I think so, too. He should be using that real stiff jab. That's what he should be doing.
Jab, Leon! Come on, jab!
All right, thank you, Michael Spinks.
Okay, then.
Eddie Lopez and Leon Spinks, and it's been like this from the opening bell. But he's been doing an excellent job. He will not be involved in the scoring.
Leon's legs are very, very tired. When the referee broke them, he actually had Leon stagger back about 3 or 4 steps.
Lopez got the left through, but good counter combination from Spinks and an uppercut landed.
Lopez is not moving his hands.
Spinks flat-footed right above us, but he has been counter-punching very well off the ropes.
Lopez has stopped moving his hands.
Final seconds of the fight. And it could well be that Leon has won it in this round. We'll find out. That's all. And
85. The decision is a draw.
Well, it's a draw in the ring.
Thank you very much, Tim. This was a terrific fight, no question about it. First, Leon, I've got to ask you, you had the early lead. I'll tell you, this guy can take a hit punch, huh?
Oh, yeah, definitely. But we both can. We just did an immaculate job in there for showing people the show.
We got fight of the year.
You don't seem displeased that the fight ended in a draw, Leon.
No, because it was a close fight with the Rumble. And I ain't got no doubt about it. That man tough.
Eddie, I want to know your thoughts about that butting call that may have cost you the fight. Probably did.
Well, I did not do anything intentional. I was moving. I was coming up. I was trying to go to the body, try to come up and make some. It was, it was nothing intentional.
half of the time I fight after the third round, I'm just working. I don't know what the hell.
That's a mistake.
Well, I'll tell you what.
I have more respect for Leon. I didn't respect him much as a fighter because of the fact that he only had 11 fights. But Leon, you're just...
Great fight. It was a great fight, and I'll tell you one thing. The people know who Eddie Animal Lopez is right now.
A few days later, Lopez would fight with police in the streets as over 12 officers were needed to subdue him and send him back to jail. Once inside, the inmates congratulated him on his performance against Spinks. Now, with the movie and television exposure, Lopez's name was being bandied about like it had never been before. Charismatic with an affable personality, fans in Los Angeles wanted to see more. Lopez heckled a comebacking Muhammad Ali at a press conference when Ali was pressed about considering him as a future opponent. Ali had boxed Lopez during an exhibition a few weeks earlier and didn't care for Lopez, stating, "This Chicano belongs back on the streets of East L.A. and does not belong in the ring with someone with the class of Muhammad Ali." Lopez replied with, "I can't believe this fat and slow old man wants to get in the ring with me. He couldn't punch 2 months ago when I sparred with him, so what makes him think he can punch now?" The proposed fight never went past the negotiation stage. Instead, promoter Don King offered Lopez fights with Michael Dokes or Greg Page for $50,000, but Lopez balked, claiming it would be a poor return for the risk. Instead, he took a career-high payday for $85,000 against Marty MONROE. Lopez's inhuman ability to absorb punishment came to an end, as MONROE floored him for the first time in his career, and he would go on to stop him in the 5th round. "Get in shape," Lopez's manager told him, "and you'll beat this guy next time. You can make $1 million." But Lopez's trainer, Ralph Gambina, would be stricken with cancer and exit the game. Lopez always had conflicts with Gambina, but his career stalled after the old trainer left the sport. He would be inactive for 18 months before returning to the ring in 1982. In 1984, after a 9-month layoff, he would be brought in as an opponent for the undefeated Tony Tucker. Tucker would take out Lopez in 9 rounds. Lopez would never fight again. He would return to the gang life, and in the words of one observer, quote, "The drugs and alcohol would do what they do." Lopez would be found dead in his room in 2017 by his daughter. He was estimated to be 60 years old. "He was a hell of a fighter," said friend and former featherweight contender Ruben Castillo. "He came right at you. He would try to take your head off. That's all that mattered to him. And he was a super, super, super guy."